we after that last one ran into like almost like a full other half, like a full third half in overtime. We can't find him. So people forget like we're streaming this, but we're not full-time Blood Bowl players, and people got real jobs and stuff. So we may not find Afro Chef. So instead, we're going to give you a bonus treat. We're going to have the two guys that we're going to announce the match if it happened tonight, and hopefully they'll still be on it for whenever we do end up playing it, which hopefully will be tomorrow. It will be, Rez and BernieBuffon. These guys are going to give you a kind of preview of the match. So without further ado, we will go to the home team, and I'll get their team up on the screen for you guys to comment on. Tell me what you think about the Nemesis Full Moon Thrillers.
First thing about the Full Moon Thrillers is that their naming convention is awesome.
All Michael Jackson songs. I like it.
All Michael Jackson songs, except for maybe a few zombies that may have found their way onto their team from other teams.
Those guys are trophies, right? Like when you have a naming convention, there's some guys that obviously don't fit, and everybody's like, yeah, you made those.
I'm looking at Afro's team. I hadn't looked at them since the comp started. He's only got one werewolf.
Yep. It's
wow.
Way to make it count, though.
Yeah, oh yeah, I mean, Dirty Diana is one hell of a werewolf.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Dirty Diana, I was looking at her stats. 33 matches, 96 injuries, 15 casualties, 18 touchdowns, 3 kills, and 8 crowd shots.
Jeez.
So, you know, she is the go-to piece here. The only problem I've seen in his team is that he's the go-to guy and there's not really much else. So if that was to be taken out, they're going to struggle, I think. But then again, he will get a bit of pet cash, so it might bring in a star player, who knows?
The 2 jump-up lights are really interesting. That can cause a lot of problems. I've seen jump-up be referred to as the secret sauce of murder. And it's
What? Who said that?
Yes.
That is great.
I saw that on a Reddit thread. I wish I could remember the guy's screen name to credit him with the comment, but it was absolute. They were talking about chaos and they were talking about doubles rolls, and he's like, "Listen, jump up is the secret sauce of murder," and it is so true because it's hidden hits, it's extra hits, and a lot of times the opponent forgets that they're even coming.
I forget it when I have the jump up guy.
Yeah.
So I have to burn that one into my head and keep that rolling. But that's a hell of a werewolf.
Yeah, the Dirty Diana is definitely the crown jewel of the team. The ghouls are a little underdeveloped. They're useful, and there's certainly an argument to be made for keeping them at level 2 or level 3, but not having block on either one makes me very nervous.
Especially when they can't be appoed, or not appoed, they can't regenerate. Yeah. And there is no appo.
Exactly. They're the only players on the team you can really call fragile.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll let you guys in on this in case you weren't aware. Take a look at their record. It's 11, 5, and 17. So
wow, there must not have been much Necro then, huh?
There were not a lot of Necro teams, and maybe I can take a little credit for that. I don't know if you remember early in the Cup.
Was that one of the 5 races that you were at the top with?
This is a psychological warfare thing I did. I didn't do it purposefully, but I got to the I got to the #1 spot with Chaos, and I was like, it's getting harder to find games when I spin, so let me start a new race team. So I came up with Necro, and then next thing you know, I was like number 3 or something at one point with the Necro team. And then, so I think a lot of people were like looking at, a lot of people do that when they enter the ladder. They go like, all right, well, who are the teams that are already kind of like,
I look at the other Wood Elf teams every time I sign in. Every time I sign in, I look at the other Wood Elf teams.
But even more so, I think when people are choosing their team, they're like, oh, no, there's 10 Orc teams at the top. I'm not going Orc, So I think that they looked at the top. They saw like my Necro team up there. They saw the Chaos team with pretty good records. The Necro team started out with a pretty good record. Then they gradually got worse, but so I think that may have discouraged some people at the very beginning from getting into it. And then I don't know if you guys know this, but the guy that was actually actually overtook my Necro team, became the top Necro guy. his name is slipping right now, but the name of the team was the Baltimore Wolves, and actually his name was like IBN 84, I think. I think that's what it was. And
That's correct.
yeah, and the dude was so we went to invite him and figured out that my man had deleted his team
Really?
at the close of the champion ladder. He was like, "Oh, they shut the champion ladder down. Okay, I'm gonna delete my team and restart
Oh
it again for the
no.
champion ladder season 2." So I contacted him. I was like, "Dude, if you wouldn't have deleted your team, you'd be playing in the playoffs." He was like, "Oh, I'll go in with a fresh team." I'm like, "It doesn't work that way. We had to offer it to the next person." So,
Yeah,
so
IBN 84. Yeah, I see his record showing is 0-0-0 on the leaderboard now.
yep. So the worst. So the next the next person, the second best team, Necro team was Afro Chef's Full Moon Thrillers, and this is the thing. If you don't, especially under the one that we went under for season 1, remember the algorithm was a little more grindy. It wasn't very grindy, but it was a little more grindy, and if you didn't hit a certain number, like I think you had to have like something statistically representative, right? Like if you just come in and you're like, I got 5-0 and I'm gonna stop, you're not gonna beat an 11-5-17 record because it won't recognize you as having played enough games to really be statistically.
Yeah, it seems like you needed at least like 20 games in to really get enough weight on your score.
Right. So and I think the Dode who came up with the algorithm, I think he would say it's closer to 10.
Okay.
I have trouble believing that there wasn't somebody with only 10 games that had a better win percentage than this.
Yeah, and Afro's a great coach. Not to diminish anything about him. I mean, we've all had those games where Nuffle just says, "No, you're taking a loss on this one," and we've talked about the blue screen. So who knows what number of losses came from that? But yeah, it is a little surprising to see a team with a losing record in.
Yep, and I figured that might get people in uproar. People who were pissed about the algorithm before might see that and go, "What the hell?" But he wasn't he wouldn't have come in if the other guy wouldn't have deleted his team. That being said, I'm not thinking that this is going to be an easy romp for me for a second. He is a very good coach. We played with Afro Chef in the MML. And
I like to give Afro credit for teaching me how to properly play elves. I was actually over in Nemesis League where I was there before I found the MML. And I didn't even know you could hand off and pass in the same turn when I first started playing against Afro. And and now here we are, and I'm trying to pull off maximum FPS with my AG6 throwers. So always like to
you're known as Gorilla
tip my
Rez.
cap to him.
Yeah, you've earned the title Gorilla Rez, and it's all thanks to Afro Chef. So.
I think it's thanks to my AG5 lineman, but yeah, Afro Chef definitely had some. Right, so I always like to tip my cap to Afro. I call him my Elvin Obi-Wan.
Nice. Well, let's hope that he has faded off into the sunset in his glory days for when he plays my Cowboys. I hope he's not too good anymore. Let's hope you outshine the master. Yeah, we have people in the chat. So Jim is asking, is this where the last game is going to be? This is if we have this last match, it'll be here. Unfortunately, I think the last one ran so long it may have lost my opponent for the night. And if I did, then we'll just have to stream it tomorrow. Maybe we'll have Gorilla Rez stream it so that I won't be sitting there trying not to laugh in the chat.
Yeah, I should be around tomorrow, I believe. I've got my pro game coming up, but Whiskey and I are pretty easy to schedule around each other, so I'm not too concerned with that. I think I'll be able to cover the one tomorrow if it happens.
Nice. And I'm not working, so I think I can get it in early in the day.
Nice. Yeah, I'm actually off tomorrow too, so that might help Afro a lot then.
Oh, great. Yeah, especially because he's in the UK. By the way, we're playing at Neverland, and Afro does not want to take the chance of Dirty Diana getting stoned to death. So you'll notice his enhancement is he's got a squig sandwich kiosk. So there will be no rocks from the audience coming in and crashing her out. Also, no free bribes, so I won't be able to stomp on her if and when I get her down without worrying about a bribe coming at me. As you mentioned, 1,570 TV for him, team value. Does he have any journeymen? Or no, everybody's healthy, right?
I think he's actually got 12
He's got 12. Yeah, so he's good on that. So 1,570 TV, and then we take a look at mine real quick. So I'm coming in with a healthy... 1950.
He's got 3 difference. Or 380 difference.
About 380 difference? Oh, okay. I'm close. I mean, if he wants to spring for 50 extra gold pieces, you might see Morg. Yeah, that would be interesting. That'd be an interesting thing for me to have
Morg
to
would be
do.
a hard decision, I think, though, going up against a team with a block pro Minotaur.
Yeah.
Because Saddam can get in there and really cause some issues.
Yep. Well, he's got weapons of mass destruction at his fingertips. We'll let him get those weapons of mass destruction.
Oh, you had that one planned. I know you did.
No, I'm on tonight. Woo!
Well, you're on what, hour 5, I think?
Yeah, I'm dialed in at this point. I've had some warm up, you could say. I do have my one claw guy, Towley, and he's got claw, mighty blow, and block, so that could also do some damage to
so
star
each
players.
team's coming in with one guy with claw.
Yeah, yeah. You would not think that, right? A Chaos team that made it this far,
You
come
would
in
not
with
think
one claw
Chaos
guy.
versus Necro would have a total of 2 players with claw.
Yeah.
That should just be the Necro team alone.
And only 3 guys with mighty blow on my side, and
Wow.
I don't even know how many on his side. I think 1, right?
Very surprising. You guys aren't doing your community service of trying to kill dwarves and orcs growing up.
I built this team differently. There's people have their roles, and it's not a chaos kill team by any means.
The biggest issue, and I mean, my Welves do it in the dirt, played against the Cowboys twice. We went 1 time, 1 loss, although the time may have been due to a dubious bounce pass. It went to a beastman in the end zone at the end of the first half. But not
We practiced that, Rez. We worked hard on that play.
It worked very well. But really, I think the biggest issue that you have with playing against the Cowboys is you've got 3 up beastmen. Those guys can round the corner. They can chase you down and harass you. Even my Wood Elves, they were able to keep up and keep the safeties over the top.
Yeah. That's key for me. I love that. And I love that now I got my ball carrier has the movement 7 as well. So Bebe is...
and the big hand.
Yep.
Sure hand's big hand movement up.
Big Hand went on after a particularly trying game in the rain when I was like, you know what? Screw this.
Okay.
That's not... I'm tired of dealing with the rain.
Honestly, I'm surprised you don't see, and I guess I understand it because most Chaos teams tend to be very geared towards killing and all that good stuff. But man, if I was actually dedicated enough to play Chaos and get the team built up, I'd have at least 1 guy with big hand every time because you can pull off your own version of Elf BS at that point.
Yep. And like in the MML, Seston had a guy with he was like a strength 4 beast man with big hand. So if he jumped in and grabbed that ball, he could just sit there and dare people to hit him too.
Well, that's it. I mean, and then he can blitz himself free if he really needs to.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So there's a lot of matchup issues on this team.
Yeah, Chaos are. I really do like Chaos built up. I think it's just getting them there sucks. It really sucks.
Yeah, I've never been able to be dedicated enough to build one up. I've tried 2 or 3 times, and a Chaos Warrior gets broken or something, and I just say the hell with this. If they're gonna die, I'm gonna play my elves. And but yeah, I mean, Chaos players have everything in the toolbox. I mean, you've got general, mutation, and strength access for all your players. You can make them do whatever you want.
Yeah, they are. They're the Honda Civic of Blood Bowl races. I think you can build them. You have a lot of room to customize them as you want.
Absolutely.
What do you think, Bernie?
Yeah, I'm looking at them. The difference between the 2 teams is you've obviously got more pieces what can win games. I mean, obviously Saddam Hussein, I'm looking at his figures, it's like 53 injuries, 19 casualties to 3 crowd surfs. Towley, 2 kills, 6 casualties, 33 injuries, 2 crowd surfs. And Bebe, or Bebe, however you pronounce it, he is 36 yards.
She's
Bebe,
actually a girl. If you watch South Park.
And she's 36 yards away from getting 1,000 yards for the season.
Yeah.
She's 36 yards.
And I didn't play that many games with them, right? 21 games total.
Yeah. I think she did 20 games. Like I said, I mean, the thing with Chaos is they can do so much stuff with them. I'm still tempted to get a few beastmen with like extra arm, long legs, pass block, like proper NFL quarterbacks like Sherman and that. That'd be pretty awesome. Having them ball holding at the back.
I was holding back on the like. I feel like my personal philosophy is some of those mutations become like bloaty if your guy stat ups, right?
I can understand that logic, but I will say I was playing against, and I've seen it over and over. Say you get an agility up on your beast man. Now big hand, arguable. I mean, it still enables you then to do an 83 pickup in all tackle zones. But I mean, say you
Right.
get an AG up and go 2 heads, that's an AG5 dodge right there.
Yeah.
You've got someone who can dodge straight into a cage, and you know if you were lucky enough to roll the doubles for a dodge, I mean it's I think some of them could definitely be bloaty, and I could see where you would hold off, but I think some of them do have a lot of synergy with the stat ups.
Definitely, it's just, but like you start to feel a little, like if you get the extra arm, and then you want to like basically to make up for what to create this like ad hoc mutated Agi 4 guy, like you get an extra arm, and then you have to get an extra head to dodge like him, and then you got to get the like whatever the other, the long legs, so then you just spent 3 skills to get to what you could have just got if you were Agi 4.
But again, with the very long legs and the pass block, if you were to roll the agility, all of a sudden you're running around with a base 50% chance to intercept.
True, which is
and
very,
also
very appealing.
very long legs negate safe throw, which I guarantee you most high elves will not realize.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
No,
it's just a
definitely,
good
and that
pricing
skill I
as
really
well.
like it. But I just when I was
No, I
building, like I
definitely see
haven't
the
had it.
logic there.
Yeah, that comes later to me. Like
Yeah,
I definitely don't
agreed.
do those in the beginning, because it's just I'm not. I got to put leap on a guy first before I go long legs, and I got to get Agi 4
And
before I go leap.
and I mean, I would, I'm probably a little biased here. I don't really play bashy teams, but I just want to make a point. This is the Chaos team that made it into the Champions Cup. This is not a claw palm spam team. The Mighty Blow is secondary to getting the skills that will help you win the game.
Yeah.
I'm sure if they had developed a little more, we'd see a lot more of the Mighty Blow and everything. But
I
that
believe
came
so.
secondary. Yeah, that came secondary. Killing is great. Killing is what Chaos does best. But you still got to be able to win the games.
And if anything, I've got a couple of killers. I don't need everybody to be a killer. I need some people to
Right.
be ball
Well,
handlers.
the movement up tackle Beastman is such a huge pain against elves, and in
Yeah.
particular against dark or high elves who don't have, they've got less movement than he does on most of their pieces.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm happy with this squad. I do wish I had a little more time to develop them, but it's a double-edged sword, right? Because it's the
Yeah.
ones where you play them out, and then I play that one game too many in the champ ladder, and I come across that guy that's dedicated to killing my Minotaur, and all of a sudden it changes the team. So.
I lost a level 5 all regular rolls, but a level 5 war dancer, and I lost a movement 9 sure feet sidestep nerves of steel catcher both within the final week of the ladder. Yeah. So, and I had a grab tree at that point too, so I could set up the 1-turn touchdown without using my blitz.
What?
So yeah. Oh yeah, it was awesome.
Damn, man.
It didn't
I guess
matter
the
how
rest
you
of us
set
are
up, the tree
lucky.
was gonna pull you across.
Mojo was lucky in particular. You didn't have that going
I
on.
wouldn't have had to burn my reroll on that second block trying to push my catcher around. Not saying he'd have made it, but it would have helped.
It's a crazy.
He didn't
game.
have AG5 though, so the dodges would have been harder.
True. But yeah, so it looks like as I'm looking at the chat, Afro hasn't responded, and it's probably not going down tonight, man. Sucks.
Yeah, I would imagine he probably fell asleep.
So we'll, I guess we could do this tomorrow. Obviously, I want to give you guys first dibs on the announcing, and who knows, maybe we'll even get a third announcer in there, and then it's off to round 2. We pushed through this round pretty quick. I had a schedule, and because the round 2 involves only 4 games rather than the 8 we just played, it should go even faster. So soon we'll be.
Yeah, no,
before you know
again,
it.
I just want to, I'm one of the first people who would tell you that the Cabal Open League was a very annoying place to play, and I basically had stopped. The championship ladder has been such a great surprise. It's been a ton of fun. The group of guys that we've got in the playoffs are a lot of fun and very accommodating for each other. So I just want to go ahead and throw that out there. It's been much more fun than I expected, and I'm looking forward to the cup advancing.
Same here, man. A really big shout out to Cyanide and Focus for extending
Absolutely.
this to PlayStation.
Big shout out to Sam and you as
Yes.
well. I know Sam
Thank you.
brought you in, but I know you put a lot of work in too. So yeah, I mean, props to you guys. Props to Cyanide, and
Thanks.
yeah, keep the good stuff coming. And they
Nice.
managed to pull off the basically the simultaneous release for Nurgle for console and for PC. Only 1 day
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
So
So we get the
Cyanide really
PC gets it
deserves a lot
tomorrow.
of credit. Yeah,
Yep. And I think honestly, Rez, I think US gets it evening 22nd because it's
I
like
think you're
technically
right.
the 23rd, but I think it's like midnight Paris time or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds right. So I know, I've only been playing the game for a year. I know Cyanide gets a bit of a rough rep at times, but it seems like they are really going out of their way to try to speak with the community and give us the things that we ask for.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that has to do with like when I first came in and I started playing around the same time you did. And remember, like the overarching was like this is a wonderful game on tabletop that really had a hardcore crowd supporting it and really wanted this to succeed. But the developer just wasn't like listening to people. They weren't following up. They weren't
Right.
updating the game. They weren't, and people spoke up. And Cyanide took notice and said, you know what? If you guys are this dedicated, then so are we. And next thing you know, I mean, really a lot of it is they've delegated to Focus, and like that's like Nethios and those guys that have been like Focus Guyam.
Okay.
Those guys have been reaching out to us and incorporating the community's wishes a lot and doing the best they can. Of course people are greedy and they're like, well, I want this too and I want this too. All of us would love
I
like
want 7 different races released next month, or I would go back to bashing them again.
right. But definitely I think the overall opinion of them of the developer not reaching back to the league, I think that's changed. I think we've had a meeting of the minds, and we're not getting everything right away, but because they probably have other games to develop as well and all that stuff. But I think they also realize that as long as they keep introducing DLC, people are going to buy it.
We are a rap. I realize that especially on console, it's a bit of a niche audience, but man, we are a rabid audience at that.
I don't think I've ever played a PlayStation 4 game this long. Like, when I used to play
No.
Madden or NBA 2K, I would buy the new one that came out. But, I mean, even those, I would play like 6 months, and then, like, I'd put it down,
Right.
wait till the new one came out. But this is probably, like, this and maybe The Last of Us are the only two games that I've played, like, just ongoing, like, it never stops, so.
Yeah, the comparison I like to make is basically, I mean, obviously, Blood Bowl aside, the leagues and all of the things that we're doing online, it's basically like a big connected franchise.
Yeah.
For Blood Bowl.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I love how we've incorporated the PC audience as well now. Like, there's a lot of crossover, maybe cross-platform play. Maybe this is the beginning of it, right? Because we're all looking at each other competing, and I'm sure that there's people wondering. I know on our side we're probably wondering, how would I fare against CK Noor, or how would I fare against Lupac? And maybe they're starting to wonder the same. How would I do against
Well, and
Bernie
it's definitely
Buffon?
interesting. We've had a few guys from the PC crowd be like take early interest in us even before all this stuff started happening, and give us a little more credit, because there was definitely a prevailing concept out there that console players were second or even third tier players, which I can understand that. Nobody who started on Blood Bowl 2 on console is going to have anywhere near the kind of games that guys like Squiggy have,
Right.
or Lupac or Sage or anything like that.
Right.
But that being said, there's a huge learning curve after, say, 50 to 100 games, and after that, it's really fine-tuning what you do in the game, and not sitting here saying that any of us would beat anybody else, but the chat was certainly adamant that it would be an interesting game at the very least, with top PC versus console players.
And one of the things I'm actually proudest of is like Squiggy. You mentioned him. Big shout out to him. He said he's buying a PlayStation, and so he's gonna
I
be
did see
joining.
that.
Yeah, he's gonna be playing over here with us. That'll be awesome, man.
Definitely,
And we have a few guys in the
Better not take
MML
my
that
Wood
play
Elf
over
spot.
computer. Is he a Wood Elf guy?
I think he bounces around a little bit, but I know he professes his love for the Wood Elves. So yeah, I might have a little more competition. Not that there isn't enough already, but yeah, I might have some more steep competition coming.
Tell him who thinks they can handle Gorilla Rez.
The problem with the Gorilla Res moniker is that I have to be down to 3 players to start employing it.
Harass and destroy.
That's all you can do at that point. I mean, you can't give up the game.
That's when you really. That's just people know when they corner you. That's when you get really most dangerous. You're like,
That's
good.
when I start pulling
I'm
the
down
crazy
8
stuff.
players. Yeah, I'm down 8 players. Now I'm just getting started.
Right? At that point, you don't care anymore. If the guy makes the dodge, then great, you look like a genius. If he fails it, then, didn't
Absolutely.
work out.
True. What's up, Bernie? You quiet?
We're so
did
used
we
to
lose
sitting
him?
here ranting on our cast.
Yeah,
We're completely ignoring poor Bernie.
Sorry,
I'm
Bernie.
just chilling. Just a few quick questions regarding obviously the ladder. What's going to happen? Obviously, is the rules the same way? So the top 3 go through, and then the best team races.
It's
Is
it's
still the
the
same?
opposite of that. It's the opposite of what you just said. It's not the complete opposite, but switch them. So first the top coach of every race. Then after those are taken and out of the pool and thrust into the playoffs, then we go, okay, who's the next 3 overall?
Okay, because what's going to happen when Nagel come in?
Then it's going to become 14 and probably that. I don't, I'm not going to speak for Nuthios and them, but I would imagine that unless we're going to, actually, I will say this: there has been talk by some people pushing for 32 teams in the playoffs rather than 16, just because of the amount of players that have started to show interest. And I mean, if you think it's big on PS4, we got
Now I've looked into
thousands
some of the
PC.
some of the PC crowd. That ladder is huge.
So if you think it's hard to make
Man,
the
that's
playoffs in
insane.
the PS, yeah, in the PlayStation, yeah, in the ladder in the PC, it's a whole different story. Um, so I think they're thinking about maybe expanding the 32. Who knows? But actually, I also think I remember somebody on the moderator side, on the admin side, kind of being resistant um, to allowing for that until had introduced some more races. So I don't know.
Understandable.
Yeah. But right
So
now,
what?
14 and then 2, it's not too bad, right?
Yeah. Jest, what's going to happen then? I heard you said something about Nagel. Did you say it's coming out the day after the PC? Because I thought I read somewhere it was a week after the PC.
It
They
was
changed
so
it.
originally Nithios had announced that it was definitely coming out on PC by the 23rd, I think, and then the release it was expected within a week after. And then now, they've been working really hard on getting the certificate. Like the worst part for the PlayStation, what holds the PlayStation and the Xbox up, is that after the race passes like the standards for Cyanide and Focus for release on the PC, then they got to go around and mess with the whole PlayStation Store and the Xbox Store and all that stuff. So, the, that is a whole nother issue. Sometimes last time it held us up a week or 2 weeks, where like
Yeah.
the Necro was ready to go, but the PlayStation Store was holding up certification, so they couldn't release them through DLC.
So are they sorted it earlier than other for the Nagel now? I've got it so quicker than they thought. Is that why it's coming out the day after, or?
Yeah, I think they worked on the certification like they whatever it was that was holding up the certification last time. They probably proactively attacked it with the different merchants, and and took care of it. So it may have been a classic case of under promise, over deliver. But it looks like we're getting it on the East Coast. You Brits can be a little jealous of us. I think the Americans are gonna get it tomorrow night, or as you guys will
Okay.
get it like Wednesday morning.
Are you and Rez tempted to
Or
do a
Wednesday
Nagel
afternoon.
team?
I'll get them because I want to support them.
Mm-hmm.
Nurgle is the exact opposite of my regular play style. I
Yeah.
like playing other races to learn how they work and how to attack them. And it's always fun to play another race. I didn't think I'd enjoy Undead, and I absolutely loved them. Necro was a bit of just kind of a meh for me, personally. And same thing with Norse, just because of my play style. But, yeah, Nurgle is the exact opposite of what I want on the pitch.
Yeah, Rez is an agi guy. I am kind of a bashy coach, but I like to have options. So that's why Necro to me is wonderful, because it allows me to put some fear into the orcs and the dwarves, and at the same time be able to quickly cover a lot of ground if I need to make a quick offensive strike. So
Definitely.
I personally became a real Necro fan. I actually really like the Norse too in a lot of ways. Just that AV7 that kind of makes me a little nervous.
Yeah. I feel like if I'm gonna be AV7, I want AG4 with it.
Yeah. I think at the very least, I think I'll probably go with. I'll give a go in the champion ladder with Nurgle and see what happens. I'm sure a few
And
people
it'll
will.
be interesting. Nurgle is really going to force people, especially guys like me, who are used to just running around with their plus AG guys and doing whatever they want, really force you to survey the field and play your positioning game very strong.
I love how there's so many checks and balances in this game. Like
The
when there's
balance
like
in this game is amazing.
yeah, and like so you know how like in a lot of leagues, both in the Blood and Tears League and the MML, we kind of have like our casual ladders where you plan these games out ahead of time. Like you go, hey, I have this TV and this race, and the other person says I have this TV and this race. I the with the new races being added in, the checks and balances for certain races are so pronounced that I'm almost thinking like for the future we need to start thinking about like making it a rule that you're not declaring what race you're playing, to keep people from stacking the deck.
I try not to anyway, just because
Yeah.
even even if I'm trying not to let it influence my choice. If someone tells me, "Hey, I'm spinning a dwarf team," I instantly uncheck my wood elf and my skaven teams.
Right.
It's you can't help it. It's just
Right.
why subject this to myself? I'm gonna bring out my necro team. I'm gonna bring out my undead.
Exactly. Yeah, and so it's just and even like and that's what I like about things like this ladder is that it forced like you can't build a team and say like I think we've talked about this. A lot of elf coaches they subscribe to the idea of if I'm given the choice between my first skill being dodge or being block or wrestle, I'm gonna go dodge, right? And
Definitely.
when I build my elf teams, I kind of don't do that specifically for the reason that what if I run into a dwarf team? I'm done. It's over.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So you can't do that. You can't. So, and I've seen like sometimes like people build their elf teams like that, and then they'll go, "Oh, you're playing dwarf? No, I'm not playing against you." Right? And it's like, well, then you stack the deck for yourself until you can build
It's a
your
bit
guys up.
aggravating when someone flat out says that they won't play against a race, but yeah,
Yeah.
and that's one of the beautiful things about having the championship ladder now.
Yep.
I bounce back and forth between playing on over an MML on the farm casually and matching the matches up and playing fun. I'm just
Right.
I'm trying to win, but I'm not focused like I am in here. And then if I really want to play competitive, my league game's played already, then off to the championship ladder.
Right. And that's not to say, I mean, when you're playing MML Pro, completely different thing. That's very, very competitive.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I would be happy to win more than 2 games in a season over there.
but but yeah, I do like that. It's kind of like you can't just you can't cherry pick over here in the champ ladder. It's you better build your team ready for anything that may come your way. And this Nurgle thing, I'm kind of looking forward to because that's just it's gonna create issues in a whole
It's going
new
to be
way.
interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to playing against Nurgle with my elves.
What do you think, Bernie? About Nurgle? What's your take on them?
Yeah, I used to have a Nego team called Plague Within Cowboys, and they were fantastic. It was just awesome. They are quite expensive, and they do take a long time to get how you want them. But yeah, they're nasty. They are nasty. I'm pretty tempted to give them a try, but obviously I've got unfinished business with my dwarf, so I'm a bit torn where to go. But I might do both and see which one does better. But I'd rather try. I think hand on heart, I really want to get my dwarfs back in the playoffs for some redemption first, and then maybe save the Nagel for the season after. I think.
It seems like there's fewer dwarf teams in the championship ladder here in season 2 so far. I mean, last season it was basically just orcs and dwarves all over the place, and now it seems like it's more like orcs and undead.
Yeah,
Was there a lot of
because
orcs the first? I didn't think there was that many orcs the first time around. It looks like there's more now.
No, there wasn't too
I
many.
think there were a lot of like halfway played orc teams that just couldn't quite catch up record wise. Because I know it felt like, and again, it's always biased, but man, I felt like I played a lot of dwarves and orcs.
Yeah, dwarves I agree with 100%. There were a lot more in season 1.
Yeah.
People.
Yeah, there's not. There's just not many. Go
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say there's not many dwarfs this season because after watching the coach's destruction, there's no point any of the dwarf teams joining, really, is it? Because we're going back to the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Nobody's knocking you guys off.
No, we're possessed to get back there. Yeah, definitely.
I would
Mojo
be terrified
says
to
Woody's
play
last
against
season.
Bernie and his dwarves.
Yeah, don't sleep on Bernie and his doors. Bernie would rather stand around and get extra hits to make sure they break your team than score.
That's what's important.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was interesting with the Wood Elves last season, and there's a ton of them this season, but last season there were really only, because believe me, I keep tabs on all the active Wood Elf teams in the ladder, and there were only 3 teams that were really active, and all 3 made the playoffs.
Yeah, and now it seems like people are catching on to that, and there's a lot
There's
more.
a lot, yeah. Yeah. Wood Elves can be very forgiving. If the injuries aren't piling up, really it's very, very easy to try to make stuff happen.
By the way, let me ask you this. It's funny because the chaos, like if you read the description of Chaos and Dwarves, they'll say like, hey, these guys worry about the ball less. Like, ball? What ball? We're all about bashing the other side and beating people up, you know? But it really seems like Nurgle might really be that, like for real, may make those teams look like, oh, those are really offense-minded teams, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to say, I mean, you say that they don't really care about the ball. I think I proved that in the playoffs that, we didn't score, did we? We went straight for the elf. So, they are bang right. We don't care about scoring. We just want to hit something. So they're bang on with that assumption, to be fair.
But at least, like, the Dwarves have, like, 4 guys on their roster who have Agi 3. Does Nurgle have any Agi 3?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, I think they've got a few.
Oh, they actually do have Agi 3. Okay. The way it made it seem to me is like they were just big, hard hitters that didn't really...
No, and I don't know a ton about the other races, but that sounds like more like a Khemri kind of deal.
Oh, Khemri is that. Okay, I'm confused.
Yeah, Khemri is the team with like the Tomb Guardians. They're all AG2 with some sure hands scattered around.
Oh.
Yeah, you're right there.
Okay, that makes more sense now. Okay, so Nurgle's just a bunch of mutations and...
Yeah, I think Nurgle will be really important to learn how to not necessarily cage, but to really get a proper screen that people can't get behind.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of...
Because even if a War Dancer leaps in there, tentacles can stop them from trying to run away. It can prevent a leap in the first place as well.
Imagine the surprise, right? He jumps into a cage, like, got it, done. Now let me just get this ball. Zoop, nope. You stay right there, pretty boy.
I mean, imagine dream scenario, War Dancer hops in there, knocks the ball free, ball bounces to him, he tries to run away, and he's stuck. Yep. And then he's got 3 guys ready to pound on him the next turn.
Yeah. That's tough, man. That might be the answer to Wood Elves, really. A lot of people have had trouble handling Wood Elves.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to spend some time playing with them, if nothing else, to figure out how I need to play against them.
Yeah. Yeah. Man. All right, guys. Well, any last comments on the... Oh, go ahead, Bernie.
Yeah, I'm saying the thing with Nurgle is they're having really slow to skill up. They are expensive, so you do start with quite a few weak starting rosters. But the thing is, if you can try and pull them out of position, they're really hard to get back in position. They're so slow. I mean, they're as slow as dwarfs. So if you start getting too excited with the Nurgle and you misread it or you go left too far, and then the other team will just swing round right, and it's really hard to, like when Rez says Wood Elves are very unforgiving, Nurgle isn't. If you mess up with Nurgle, a bit like Dwarfs, you overcommit, you've had it, the other team will go down the other end and score. Like I said, they do have a lot of things like disturbing presence and stuff like that, and also it's not more annoying than when someone blitzes a Nurgle ball carrier and then they roll a 1 and then they can't hit him. So yeah, they are going to be popular, but I think I can see a lot of novice coaches getting a bit peeved off with them and dumping them. So I can see us having a few Nurgle coaches in the first 2 or 3 weeks, but I think they'll cut down as we go along, because they are one of the harder races to coach with.
I can definitely see that. With that much controllability on the field, that seems like the balance against it then. Basically, they can control the other team and force them to move as slow or methodically as they have to.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to score quickly. Also with Nurgle, it's really hard. I always when I play my dwarves and play my Nurgle, I always think my dwarves are a lot easier to score with, and when you think that, then
Wow.
you know you're gonna put it in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean the thing is, well, with Nurgle as well, what you got to remember is obviously with Chaos you can have as many beastmen as you want. With Nurgle you can only have 4, so that's it. You've got 4 Pestigors, and that's all you get.
Oh wow.
Obviously, yeah. So you know if you've got a few of them tooled up, it happened with me with the Plaguewood and Cowboys. I had an agility 4, double heads, 3 hand, 300 everything. He scored all my things, but as soon as he died, my team suffered big time because I didn't have another Pestigor already ready to step up. And when you only have 4, you like with the Beastmen, like we've been saying about, you can have you can make one into a cornerback, you can have one with big hands and all that, and you can make one as a killer and all that sort of stuff. You don't have that sort of flexibility with Nurgle, and then obviously your 4 Nurgle warriors are very slow. I think there was like 4, and the agility 2. So they're just gonna be just like a Black Hawk with a few skills discussing appearance and stuff like that. But you pay about 110, 120 grand for them, so as much as we're saying, oh yeah, it's great against the Wood Elves and all stuff like that, and you do pay a lot of money for them, and there's not that much flexibility. Your Pestigors have to do everything. Your Rotters have got DK, so you roll twice on the injury table when they get injured as well. So they don't last very long. And the best piece is the Beast of Nurgle with the tentacles. That is an awesome piece, and that can really...
Which is incredible looking, by the way. I watched some screen caps and a little bit of scrimmaging with them, and man, the detail on them is awesome.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, they're really good against things like Gut Runners or Wood Elves or stuff. Like with weak strength, they are fantastic. But again, you're paying a lot for that as well as a piece. So yeah, Nurgle's going to be good, but it's not all sunshine. They are a very, very hard team to master. Most others, I wouldn't recommend a newcomer playing Nurgle because they're just going to get smashed. Simple as. What I would like to know is when a Goblin's coming out and when's Chaos Pact going to finally get some love. Because I'd love to see Chaos Pact on Blood Bowl 2. But that's just me.
Well, that's I guess it's pretty clear we're not playing this match tonight. So thanks guys for tuning into this preview of the match tomorrow. Once again, hopefully we'll get it on tomorrow. It'll be what's the name of the team again? The Full Moon Thrillers versus the South Park Cowboys. And you've been listening to what has pretty much gone. We've gone down every rabbit hole and talked extensively about Nurgle. It's been fun though.
This turned into a little mini pod here, but hey, it was fun.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. People were asking for general discussion pods, so there you go. So yeah, this has been Serious Jest. Also, ReznorRulesYou and the man, the myth, the legend, BernieBuffon. Thanks for tuning in, guys.